Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies. Welcome to TopBrass. And today morning, Monday morning, I welcome our guest from London, Mr. Naval Gant. Good morning, Naval.
Good morning, CK. What a beautiful day it is again. We're almost into the summer now. So, how's things at your end? How's India today?
India is very good. In fact, our COVID data looks fantastic. Our recovery rate is 31%, which is very high, and our other data also looks very nice because the number of cases, although they are rising, but more and more people are recovering. At the same time, we have started world largest evacuation program as a country, where we are calling all Indians back to India, the Indians which are stranded in different countries. So already there are 65 flights have landed in the last 2 days. It's a major exercise which India government has taken over.
Wow, that's a big number considering there's not much air traffic at all at the moment. So, but I hear there's also some news on relaxation of labour laws out there. Is that really predominantly the government trying to kickstart the economy in some way?
It's one of the major news over the weekend, Naval. What really happened is India as a country was having labor law which was socialist in nature. That means there were a lot of labor laws which prevented entrepreneurs to grow in certain states. And since it's a federal country, the different states are governed by different governments which are elected within those states. So the states government can take their own decisions. So the most populous states of India over last week, which is Friday and Saturday, decided to suspend all the labor laws in their states, which are predominantly 3 to 4 states, which has about 50% of the population of the entire India. So you can imagine the impact of these decisions. All the labor laws are suspended for 3 years, which were running for last 30 years, and these are socialist in nature. So I don't want to explain all of this in detail, but I think you can understand what I'm talking about. All these labor laws are suspended. This will give freedom to a lot of existing business to ramp up, to scale up their business. And also the new entrepreneurs can be creative and start new wave of new businesses in these states, because now the labor will be readily available for the industries to grow. And I think these states are most populous. In fact, if you look at some of these population in these states, it could be more than the entire Europe and United States of America. So many people in these 4 states live in India, and a lot of businesses globally are coming out of China. Here is an impetus provided by the state governments to kickstart, attract business, or rather woo companies which are coming out of China to come and establish in India.
Wow, that's quite a change. And like anything else, when you start to change labour laws, let's hope that these are positive changes and not negative changes. We don't want to be having people on the streets, saying my labour rights have been taken away. But I can see why a government would want to stimulate the economy. But as I was reading recently that it looks like agriculture, it's about a sixth of the UK's GDP in India. And I was noticing that you could be in for some bumper crops this year. Is that right?
Well, that's also a great news, because we have predominantly 2 seasons for cutting the crop, or harvesting as we call it in English. So the harvest, which is the previous month, is a bumper. It's a bumper crop. So once the calculations are finished, it will be like 2 times of what we did last year. So we are just waiting for this to be declared by the government. And while the agriculture sector, even during COVID season, has done very well, other industries have suffered. So I think it is important for labor laws to be modified, because if there are a lot of laborers available, then there could be a lot of work available for the new industries or existing industries which can scale up, which has the potential. So I think all the measures are taken by these state governments are in the right direction.
That's excellent. And so if we're looking at a bumper harvest then, which is always good news, let's just think about the what IoT, what technical capability that we could be helping farmers out there, improving their crop produce, improve the quality, making sure they take it all out of the ground rather than leaving some in the ground. Any thoughts on that in the IoT world, like drones maybe, or better use of technology?
Well, the government of India started an initiative where the soil sampling was done by the government and for free. So the farmer can take the sample of his soil, and this is happening for last 5-6 years, sample of his soil and get it tested. And once it is tested, then the farmer will know what kind of crop he has to grow on his field, because sometimes it could be vegetable, sometimes it could be grain, sometimes it could be rice. So the sampling is done, because for last 70 years this information was not available with the farmers. So now you can get your sampling done for free of cost, and these laboratories are available in every village, nook and corner. So the Government of India embarked on a very large project which provided this knowledge and this process to the farmer for absolutely free. So this was already done. So we have reached to a level where the sampling can be done before they start putting the seeds into the soil. Now, I think the next wave has to start, because the agriculture sector is about 1/5 of the Indian economy, and looking at the size of the India as a country, I think it's substantial. It's a huge, and it is not possible for for all the farmers to check what is going on after the seeds have been laid down into the soil. So I think there is an opportunity for new entrepreneurs to set up IoT private labs with a drone technology, embedded drone technology, where they can do monitoring of crop. What is happening, is there any disease, is the water required, is the moisture level adequate, not adequate. So I think there is a space now vacant for new guys, new players to come, bring IoT technology, provide all this at a very low cost to farmers, or absolutely free, get their money from the government, get their plans sponsored by the government. I think Government of India has a lot of extra funds, and they are more than willing to fund these new projects.
That sounds really good, and from what you're saying is that the farming community, which tends to be a little bit behind technology in many respects, seems to have been given that little kickstart a little early on. You say 5 or 6 years ago, this sampling was done even in the local communities. So that's probably given farmers a bit of an idea and an insight into actually technology could be really good for us. So again, calling all you entrepreneurs out there that are perhaps not thinking of farming as your primary market, you might be thinking that it could be a primary market, particularly in the drone arena. We know how good and how fast and effective and efficient drones can be in measuring all of those fundamental issues that farmers need to know: the temperature change, the moisture in the air, just the physical look of the crops, as to are they ready to be harvested, or do we need to leave them a few more days? And we all know, I'm sure like you, like me, I've played with drones in the back garden and had a bit of fun and taken an aerial photograph of the house, etc., which is all great, and you can hang that on the wall. But there are far more important things for a national economy that drone technology can be used for. So again, calling all of those IoT manufacturers, suppliers, service engineers, etc., in this world of technical change, come and have a look at perhaps the farming industry or a different industry, and spread your technology and technological advances into that arena.
And Neville, I think I must also inform you about the drone technology. There are a lot of indigenous developed drone used by the cops during the COVID season. I mean, very extensively for making announcements, for spreading the awareness. Some areas use drones to conduct live tests, because if there are people living in isolation, it is not advisable for everybody to go into the isolated area. So they use drone to collect samples, blood samples from the people who are living. So I think it has been already extensively used in India. Only thing is, I think we need to package it nicely like a business and embed using analytics, which are part of the IoT, and sell this as a service. So I think there is a huge requirement, and it does not matter whether you are an Indian company. I think India is a very large country. It has a lot of potential to absorb technology from all over the world. So I think time is right for people who have already established systems and processes to come to India and look at this market as well.
You're absolutely right, CK. And as you say, drones in specific areas currently, you know, driven by the need of COVID, you know, the police have been using them extensively, as you've said. But now the opportunity is that because we're more familiar with these flying things in the air, let's look at some really positive arenas where this new, not necessarily new technology, but it's going to be new to a lot of people, can be utilized. You know, one benefit of the drone is it doesn't get stuck in traffic. It flies everywhere. You know, there's nothing that's going to stop it apart from, you know, a few telephone wires or electricity wires. But then that's down to the drone supplier and the service engineer that's going to be smart in moving these things backwards and forwards across your property and doing some quick sweeps. I mean, just imagine that a farmer typically will use a 4x4 and just run around their property and look at the extent of where the crops are, how fast they're growing, is the land got the right moisture levels, etc., etc. Where drones can do that all for you, much, much quicker. You could probably do it 10 times, whereas it would be the cost prohibitive nature of just doing it once, a physical, you know, person in a Land Rover going around the site. So again, you know, let's use the technology, let's get out there, be smart. And if you are in this world of IoT anywhere, start to think about other areas where you can extend into. Areas you probably would never have thought that your services might be needed. And you can do that by collaborating, by asking people questions, finding a really good source in a particular industry and asking them the question. It may even be a journalist. There are lots of technical journalists on all the papers. Go and ask them the question. Have you thought of? Do you think this might be a good idea? Can we have a chat? You can't have a coffee, unfortunately, at the moment. You can have a virtual coffee. But take the advantage now. Get ahead of the game and get your name out there. CK, as ever, it's been great having our morning chat. Again, calling out all you entrepreneurs out there, come on into the spotlight. Let's have a chat. Let's find about what you do and where you do your wonderful things, because people need to hear about you and what you're doing. Nice to speak with you, CK. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow, Neville, and be safe and be positive. I think lots is happening around us. So as usual, we will catch up again tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.